Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Chioma Fakurede, and I am from Nigeria. So before we start, I'll just do a little exercise because that's just what Chioma does. If I ask you a question to say one thing about me right now as I'm standing, what's the first thing that will come to your mind? You can just echo it out. Let me hear it. What? Beautiful. Beautiful, right? Yes, a Nigerian queen. What else? Dynamic. Thank you very much. So, fun, right? Thank you, thank you. I like to do this because beyond this physical attribute, what a lot of people do not know about me is that I am living with a mental health condition. Right. So, as someone living with this condition, I've been faced with so many things. I've had people tell me that I would not be able to get a job because I'm living with a mental health condition. I've had people tell me that, are you sure you will get married because I'm living with a mental health condition? And even outrightly, I've had a failed engagement because I'm living with a mental health condition. But in all this, one thing is very constant. I've always had or received the right treatment. I've been able to get diagnoses. And most of all, I have a family, a husband, a child, parents, and siblings that love me so much. Now, unfortunately, not a lot of people in Nigeria are as privileged as I am. WHO says that 1 in 4 people suffer from a mental health condition. So let's just do this together. Count yourselves, please. Count the person in front or behind you, the person on your left or your right hand side. 1 out of the 4 of you have suffered, is suffering, or may suffer from a mental health condition at some point in their lives. Now, my country, Nigeria, is a very populous country. It's even called the Giant of Africa. We have over 200 million people in Nigeria. But do you know that the Association of Psychiatrists in Nigeria states that we only have less than 300 psychiatrists in Nigeria? So let's just do the maths. That's about 1 psychiatrist to 800,000 people. Now, in my country with 37 states, we only have 12 government-owned psychiatrist hospitals. So you can imagine, how are we supposed to give people the access that they need? Now, we are plagued with limited resources. People cannot access mental health care. But most of all, people living with mental health conditions are subjected to stigma, discrimination, and human rights violation. Aside this, my country has a poverty line of people. 40% of people are living below the poverty line in Nigeria, and a lot of these people are illiterate. So you can imagine that these people cannot even get the help that they seek. So this made me, 7 years ago, I came up with a bright idea. Not only because I am living with a mental health condition, but because I saw the need to bridge the gap and address these issues. I started a non-profit called Olama Cares Foundation. Now, Olama Cares, or Olama, is an Igbo word. I'm an Igbo girl from the southeast Nigeria. Olama means jewel of beauty. And for me, it means that everybody who is the reverse is beautiful, whether you're living with a condition or not. Now, my NGO, my non-profit, what we do is that we promote the social acceptance of people living with mental health through awareness and support for mental health conditions. Now, since inception, 7 years now, we've been able to help over 200,000 people through awareness, through mental health first aid training, through telehealth, and traditional mental health care services. One of the main things that we've done while running my NGO, and I think it's been one of the greatest achievements that I have had throughout my 7 years, was in 2020 during the coronavirus. We had, I'm very bad with slides. We had a partnership with the British High Commission Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office, where we're given a grant to provide mental health support for 5,000 at-risk people in 11 rural areas in underserved countries, or in underserved cities around Nigeria, and it was a lot of work. But however, it was very important for me that I needed to do that work because there were people who outside the main cities needed help and they couldn't even access the smartphones. You know, during coronavirus, we all had access to smartphones, so everybody was going to send help. So what did we do? We made use of their GSM. We were able to create codes, USSD codes, where people can send help if they needed help. One of the things that we did was that we went to these communities and we had like in-person sensitization for each and every one of them. We also developed a mental health tool, was like an app, where we could actually screen these people on the spot and get their results, whether they were mentally or emotionally stable at that time or not. We created a short film called Circles, where we also showed them what it is like to live with mental health conditions and what you can do. Aside from that, we were able to equip them with mental health toolkits so that they will know where to get resources, who to call whenever they need help. And I think one of the most beautiful parts of that project for me was being able to train people that we call community champions. So that even when we leave there were people that they can come and meet. We trained them in mental health first aid, and they could meet them and speak to them. And then if they had any issues, you know, they had the right way to address these issues. And if it was something that needed to be escalated, they can always escalate to us. And one thing that was beautiful for me was that all these things were all made in the local languages. So it was in Igbo, it was in Yoruba, it was in Hausa, and it was in Pidgin. And for a lot of people who we found out that they were emotionally distressed eventually, they had the opportunity to go on follow-up teletherapy for up to 6 weeks. Now, yes, I know that we've done all these projects and it seems like we've made a lot, but I'm only one person in a wide range of 7 billion people in the world. So I urge you today that as I leave here, if you've not taken anything out of anything I said, I urge you today to be mental health advocates, to be mental health ambassadors. And you don't have to open a non-profit. You don't have to do the big things. It can be as little as volunteering. It can be as little as donating. It can be as little as asking your friend or even a stranger, how are you? It can be as little as saying I'm fine and truly saying you're fine because or saying you're not fine because you really are not fine. It can be as little as being a shoulder to lean on. So, with all this that I've said, I hope that we would agree, moving on forward, that we'll be mental health advocates. And I just want to tell you here on that your mental health matters. Mental health is as important as your physical health. And most of all, if you're living with a trauma or emotionally distressed, it is okay not to be okay. Thank you very much.